So here is another indispensable tool for me. I use this all the time. It's a little LM386 based mini amp inside this enclosure. I use it for testing circuits to see that they work. I use it for when I'm doing tap tests on electric guitar and I'm rewiring the pickups. You know, it comes in real handy. And what this is, actually this started life as something completely different. This was an enclosure I saw at Fry's one day, and I thought, oh, that'd be cool to make a pedal out of. So I bought it, and then I tried to decide what I was going to put in it. And I decided at the time I was going to put this groovy Paisley stuff on here, and I'd have a foot switch, which would switch off and on a wah circuit inside of here, and it would just be like a fixed wah kind of a filter. And then I decided I never used it, and it sat around for a long time, and then I decided one day, hey, I'm going to put my RadioShack mini amp inside of here. Now, you probably have seen, you might be familiar with the mini amp. It's this little plastic, little miniature amplifier with a 16 ohm speaker in it, this size right here, because that is the speaker that came out of it. And it had like an external speaker jack and a potentiometer that had a switch in it that you would turn it off and on. It also was the volume control, and then it had an 1/8 inch input jack, which I hated because I had to make a converter cable that went from a 1/8 inch model to a 1/4 inch model to ever use it. So one day I got fed up with it, and I took it out of the plastic enclosure, and I decided to put it in here. So I drilled a big hole right here for the speaker, and I took off the original pot and power switch arrangement, and I put a pot here and a power switch here. And I originally had the battery door holder thingy on the back here, and I recently decided I was going to put it down here so that I could have an input jack instead of on the side, on the back. Because originally, like, this input jack was over here and this BNC jack was here, and it seemed like no matter what I did, these jacks were always in the wrong place, so I decided to put them central in the back. And so that's what I did. Here is my bottom half of the enclosure. I just plugged the original holes with some plastic caps that I got at Lowe's, and I included a copy of the schematic in here, the original schematic with my modifications to it. And then this is kind of what I did to rehouse the original circuit board. And I found this nifty kind of grill, like a speaker grill material on a job site at a construction site, and I picked it up and thought I'd be able to use it for something one day, and sat around for a few years till I did this project. And I think it works. It looks cool for a little speaker grill. And I found a way to mount that inside of the enclosure, and then I also found a way to mount the original circuit board inside of here, and I just rewired it so that the switch, the power switch, was separate from the pot. And then while I was at it, I rewired the BNC jack a little bit to include a capacitor there to protect the oscilloscope from any kind of DC. And so it works pretty well. And of course, I add the LED so that when I think I'm done with it, hopefully I notice that the LED is on and the power is not off. I originally had a white LED in here, and it burned out, so I don't know if it was getting too much voltage or what, but So I had to put this red one in here and I put the washer in it to try to help it be a little more visible. But you can build, you could use anything like the little gem on the runoffgroove.com website, or the little gem Mark II, like the same circuit I used in my Desert Strum amp, or the Desert Strum Nano amp that I have videos on I did previously. But this is the RadioShack mini amp just rehoused, and I was kind of happy because I finally get rid of that stupid 1/8 inch jack and went to a 1/4 inch mono jack instead. And I was able to reuse this enclosure that I had sitting around. But going back to my original thoughts, having this little mini amp is just such a useful tool. Oh, and by the way, this BNC jack is kind of cool because I can feed the signal into here. I can have this unit off even, but the signal will still go through the BNC jack because it's directly connected to this input. So I can shut this off if I want and just leave it connected to the scope. Like, say if I'm going to go away for a few minutes and come back, I can conserve the battery that way. So I suppose I could have made this a stereo jack to switch the power off and on, but I really don't like doing that. I'd rather just have the power switch. I really don't like having to unplug things and plug things in to power it up. I'll only do it on certain wah pedals because I want to keep them all original. But anyways, hopefully this gives you some ideas. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can build a little mini amp. You can use something like this. You could put it inside of a box. You could even put it inside of a Hammond 1590 BB enclosure even, and have it battery powered. There's a million ways you can do this, but I like this right here because the speaker is at this angle. It's always pointing right at you. So hopefully this gives you some ideas on how you can build your own.